I'm LaToya Drake, Program Coordinator with Kentucky's Nutrition Education Program for the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service, and I'm here in our beautiful Allen County, Scottsville Cooperative Extension Office in their kitchen, and we're making a super delicious recipe. It is our asparagus and ham quiche. So our plated up Kentucky Proud asparagus and ham quiche. This recipe actually makes two pies. It's going to call for two 8-inch pie crusts pre-made. I already went ahead and made one of the pies, so I have half the recipe, so I could have a pie ready for us and I could do magic and show you the finished pie, and then cook the pie here. Because it takes a bit to cook. It's about 25 to 30 minutes on 400 in the oven. So what this recipe calls for is 1 pound of freshly chopped asparagus, and remember this is half of that or so. And when I chop that asparagus in half inches or half an inch or so as it directed, I also left a few of the spears a bit longer because I like to decorate the top of my pie and make it look really fancy because, you know, brunch, I like to have brunches and that's real cute and fancy, so I cut that like that and I'll show you how I do that. It also calls for a pound of chopped diced ham, so that's about a pound or so, so 8 ounces of ham, or 8 ounces, sorry, not a pound, let me get that right. Let me read, 1 cup, 8 ounces, 1 cup, not 1 pound, 1 cup. Because that would be a lot of ham and that would be excessive. And we don't want to do that. We want 1 small chopped diced onion, right? So that's half of that onion. We want 2 8-inch unbaked pie crusts, and we've got that there. We want 1 egg white, slightly beaten. We want 2 cups of shredded cheddar. That's about half of this bag. Because you know in a regular bag of cheddar, there's 2 cups in there. We want 4 large eggs. We want, so that's 2 eggs per quiche, right? We want a container of just plain old Greek yogurt. That's 5.3 ounces. Or if you can't find Greek yogurt, you can use a plain regular yogurt container as well. You probably could even use sour cream if you couldn't have access to either of those, okay? So you also want about 1/3 cup of milk, 1% milk, or whatever milk you have on hand. If you don't have liquid milk, if you have a bit of powdered milk, you can make that up. There's even some directions on how to do that. We have a blog on our site, Plan Eat Move, about instant dried milk, and it can direct you on how to just mix up enough for a recipe that you need. Also, it calls for nutmeg, salt, and pepper. So that's going to give it the flavor there. So let's get this started. So what we're going to do is we have already steamed our asparagus, and rather than steaming that as on the stove as directed, because ain't nobody got time for that this morning, I was trying to be quick, I steamed it in the microwave. So this took about 2 minutes because these asparagus spears are pretty thin. And what you want to do if you're going to do that in the microwave is you want to dampen paper towel and put it between dampened paper towel. And it's going to steam pretty perfectly. Look, it's, you know, nice and bright and green. It turned out really well. I didn't have to get another pot dirty or anything. And it was done pretty quick while I was chopping the onion and the ham. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to, we've got our steamed asparagus. We want to brown our onions. And I'm going to use just a bit of oil. This is going to pop up on me because I've been heating this skillet here because I want it to be quick to cook, but I'm probably going to burn myself like I usually do, y'all. So, oh, or maybe not. Okay. Okay. That turned out a bit better. So we've got our half of onion or so. So let's talk a bit about eggs. This month is National Breakfast Month, so September's National Better Breakfast Month. So we want to try to make healthy and balanced breakfasts. And, you know, eggs can be a great part of that. Back in the day, they used to say eggs contributed to high cholesterol or whatever, but what they found is about 1 egg or so a day can be part of a healthy, balanced diet. So this recipe it has, you know, several of our food groups. It's got vegetables, it's got protein, and it's got grain. And if you paired this with some fruit, that's going to be a really great breakfast or brunch. You could also maybe add some roasted potatoes, maybe some roasted Brussels sprouts or something like that to get some more veggies in. This recipe is pretty affordable, and it's also featured on our planeatmove.com website. So that means that it's food stamp friendly, EBT friendly, so it's going to be less than a couple of dollars or so a serving. So let's just brown these onions and that ham up a bit to add some more flavor in, and continue our conversation about eggs, because eggs are rich in choline and B12, and those are some vitamins that we don't get enough of as Americans. And choline is good for folks of all ages. It's going to help us in cellular building and repair. So in babies and little guys, it's going to help them build their little brains. And in bigger guys, it's going to help them rebuild their muscles. And in us, it's going to help us keep us healthy as we get older through the lifespan. So we want to make sure that we're getting plenty of choline. And eggs are a great source of that vitamin. All right. It's smelling pretty good. This is a super easy recipe too. And if you have, some country ham on hand, this would be a great way to use just a bit of it diced up. I got this from one of our discount grocery stores in Glasgow, and it had pre-diced ham. So that made it really easy to do. Of course, with eggs, you can get those locally, just like we talk about things that we can get locally on this recipe of the month, right? And eggs are one of those things that you can often get year-round locally at your local farmer's market, right? Eggs, once you get them from the farmer's market, if they've been stored at room temperature, you want to put them in the refrigerator when you get home. And you want to make sure that you keep them out of that danger zone. And that danger zone is between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So we want to keep our eggs lower than 40 degrees. We want to be mindful that eggs have salmonella on them. So let's mix up our egg concoction. So this calls for, like, the bulk of the quiche is going to call for 2 eggs. There's 1. And there's 2. So eggs are filled with salmonella. So since I've just had this egg on my hand, I want to make sure that I wash my hands properly before I continue this recipe. All right, y'all, so my hands are clean. I got all of the egg off of me because eggs can often be contaminated with salmonella, and that can be on the outside of the egg or the inside of the egg. And I'm super hyper aware of food poisoning these days because I actually tried to murder myself on a recent trip, clearly, to out of town to Portland. I ate a salad from an airport vending machine. That sounds really wild for somebody who works in food to do. And it was delicious, but it was not good. So we want to be mindful of food poisoning because food poisoning can cause so many different types of symptoms. It can cause the ones that we typically think of that we're not going to talk about today, but it can also cause dizziness and nausea, and it can cause headaches, and it can cause up to death if it's severely bad. And food poisoning is going to affect those who are immune compromised or who have chronic illness. They're going to affect pregnant women. They're going to affect the little guys, and they're going to affect older folks. So you want to really be mindful of washing your hands and being aware of things that can cause foodborne illness. So let's add our milk. And that also includes cooking eggs to the proper temperature. I know runny eggs can be pretty tasty sometimes, but we want to try to avoid those because those eggs, we want to make sure that they get to 165 degrees Fahrenheit and cook fully. So what we're doing is mixing the Greek yogurt, the plain Greek yogurt, half of that 5.3 ounce package or so, into our egg mixture. We're whipping it up with a fork. That was 2 eggs, right? Trying to incorporate the entire bit of yogurt into this whipped egg mixture. It's kind of thick once you get going. I'm excited to taste this. This is one of the Plate Up Kentucky Proud recipes I've never tried. And I really do like to make ones that I've never had when I come cook in Allen County for you guys, because then it allows me to try it too. So look at that. It's kind of thick. All right, so we've got our mixed egg, we've got our ham and onion mixture, and we've got our asparagus. Oh, almost forgot our flavor. We want that. Let's mix that in. That's our nutmeg, that's our salt, and that's our pepper. There we go. So before we build our pie, we want to brush it with some egg white. Just the plain pre-made pie crust. Just putting some egg white on it. With this little brush I got here. Get it on the edges there. All right, so we got that together. Okay, so now let us build our pie. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our ham and our onion mixture into this pie shell. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't make a mess. I've turned my burner off. Let's spread that evenly around. Let's get this runaway ham. All right, so now let's put our asparagus, our steamed asparagus, into the pie crust with the ham and the onion deliciousness. And when you are steaming asparagus, as I mentioned, you want to make sure that you steam smaller spears for less time, and be mindful of that because you don't want those to get mushy. The point of steaming is to make them bright and green. So then we have about a cup of cheddar, and we're going to dump that all in and spread it around evenly. And this is why we wash our hands. And this also is going to cook to the proper temperature. So that's also going to make sure germs are not spread. Pretty already, right? So we've got our cheese, we've got our egg mixture, and now we're just going to pour that over evenly across the pie. All right, and the one, I just kind of like moved it around some to try to get that even on the pie, you know. And then I've got my spears that I cut a little longer so I can make our pie pretty. And I'm just gonna put those on there. This will make it really visually appealing if you're hosting a brunch. Even if you're on a budget, you can really look like you did something with this affordable recipe. Oops, I have an extra one. Let's be real fancy. Can I get it to stay? Oh, maybe I can tie it. Let's be super, oh, it broke. I'm gonna get it to do something. Or not. Nope. We'll just give it some extra detail there. What do you think? Does that look fancy? So, what's on my fingers? Salmonella, raw egg, because I've been messing in my pie. So I'm gonna wash those again, and I'm gonna stick this in the oven, and then come back and show you the finished product, okay? All right, we've got a finished pie here. And this pie is really beautiful, actually, and I just want you guys to check it out. So here is our asparagus and ham quiche completed with my little fancy asparagus detailing. And you know, this is a great option for a brunch, but you can even eat this for a dinner. Eggs are good. It's the incredible edible egg, right? And you can eat them for all meals. You can incorporate them into stir fries. You can use a fried egg on top of a burger or breakfast sandwiches, we know. We can use them for omelets. We can use hard-boiled eggs for salads, right? We can eat eggs at night for dinner, and we mentioned how we can incorporate those into stir fries. So there are so many things you can do with eggs, and you can always find those eggs locally at many of our farmers markets. And always remember that you can use your EBT benefits at many farmers markets. And often those EBT benefits can be doubled. So check out your local farmers markets and be inspired to cook in season and cook with local ingredients with Plated Up Kentucky Proud recipes. And you can find this Plated Up Kentucky Proud recipe. I always forget the long website, because we were talking to everything UK does is the longest thing ever, the longest name ever. But you can find this recipe, this asparagus and ham quiche, at plateitup.ca.uky.edu, or you can reach out to Barry Hyatt at barry.hyatt@nctcstaff.com. You can also reach out to the Allen County Cooperative Extension Service here in Scottsville, Kentucky, and reach out for this asparagus and ham quiche, and they'll be happy to provide you the recipe. I hope this encourages you to eat locally and to shop locally and to Plate It Up Kentucky Proud. Thank you for watching.